What's up, Daily Dancers? I'm Matt.
I'm Maggie.
And this is Beginner's Bachata. So we're going to go ahead and get into all the fun stuff. But before we do, don't forget we will have time codes listed down below so you can see the demonstration of the pattern, the breakdown, the lead, the follow, the key points, all that good stuff down below. But hey, let's just jump into it. All right, let's go ahead and demonstrate our Bachata basic. So we'll start off in a two-hand hold, and we'll go ahead and start with the lead's beginning position. We'll be in a two-hand hold, and we have 1, 2, 3, touch, which is our 4 count, and we have 5, 6, 7, 8, which is that touch again. So we have step, 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 touch, step, 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 touch. All right, let's go ahead and do this from the follows beginning perspective. We start in a two-hand hold, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or step, 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 touch, step, 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 touch. All right, let's go ahead and break down our Bachata basic. So, first things first, when we're new to this, we start off with the leads, hands on the bottom, palms facing up, follows, hands on top, palms facing down. Now, we don't want to really use too much of our thumbs lead. We don't want to hold on too strongly, so I just like to use kind of a small hook shape with my palm where I'm going to shape my fingers and we kind of connect there, and that allows us to kind of control on the outside to do moves and manipulations. So I prefer that. As far as our footwork, you can do something simple like just going side, close, side, and then wherever the foot was left, you can touch, or you can bring it slightly in and touch. Some people like to add a little bit of a hip lift action. That wasn't in the initial original style. The original style comes from the DR, Dominican Republic, and it was done more in a box shape, using the same timing, but it was danced, think like American ballroom rumba or something like that. It's danced in a box. It wasn't until probably like the late 80s, early 90s we started dancing linear, and the hip lift was not necessarily part of that basic. There was hip action because of the shape, but the hip lift was more something a lot of the ballroom dancers and some of the ballet and modern dancers added into this. So the original DR Bachata dancers don't necessarily acknowledge some of those hip lifts and a lot of these off-axis movements we see in higher levels. So right now, the hip lift is not a necessity. We're looking for good, strong steps of side, close, side, and then we're just looking for a touch. No weight change, a small touch, a little bit of change of the hip action, but like I said, not a big hip lift. We don't want to take that away from the good groundedness of this dance. So we keep about, I'd say, a little bit of space in between, because whenever we do rotations or turns, we don't want this elbow to cock us in the face. We want to keep some space there. Now, alternatively, when you're doing this basic, you can dance this in a closed frame offset. So you can be connected and you can move, and you can have your basic 1, 2, 3, touch, 1, 2, 3, touch. And that's perfectly fine to be in a closed position. A one-hand hold is really common as well. But the two-hand hold is good for when you're new, because you have your own space. You can do it with your own feet. Now also, on your basic, we're doing 1, 2, 3, touch. Now on your twos, your 2, you can also cross or pass slightly in front, 2, and then 3, touch. So it can be 1, 2, 3, touch. All right, so I want you to know that the 2 does not have to be strictly closed. Likewise, it can go slightly behind. So it can go 1, 2, 3, touch. 1, 2, 3, touch. So I want you to practice dancing this 1, 2, 3, touch, or 1, 2, 3, 4, however you want to call it out, with the 2 being in different places. So if we're square on with you at the camera, we can go off our right foot, and we can go 1, 2 is close, 3, touch in place. Or we can go 1, 2 goes in front, 2, 3, touch. Or we can go behind on the 2, 1, 2, 3, touch. The most important thing is on your twos not to make such a big passing step, so it starts to feel like a more classic grapevine. We don't want to have a big smooth step. it still needs to feel rhythmical. So even if the passes are just kind of more like it starts to step in front, you see right where my feet are, I'm not necessarily going to do a big, huge cross. I might just go 1, 2, and have it just kind of in front, and then step, touch, 1, 2, just right slightly behind. That gives you room to rotate and kind of play with the partner. So it's more about creating good, solid footwork than anything else. So that's a little bit of how we're breaking down this pattern. So again, we have 1, 2, 3, touch, 1, 2, 3, touch. There's nothing wrong with leaving one foot biased in front of the other. You'll see that I'm kind of bringing my 2 slightly forward, 1, 2. The step slightly in front, that's fine. I can also have it just keeping it closed. The most important thing I'd tell you to try to avoid if you can is on your touches coming completely closed to do your tap, because then we kind of get this little like 1, 2, 3 hit. It starts to feel like we're line dancing. It changes the action of the body, changes the rhythm away. It's not the nicest look. So if you start comparing other bachata stuff and you see around you, you're not going to see most of the people closing their feet to do it. The only time you'll see people completely close will be some follows and some of the styles where they like to have a lot of hip action, because if you close the foot, you have the most hip action available. So some of the more smaller styles in bachata will have where they close and have a huge hip action. But that's mostly for the follows, for the females as well. Not so much, it's not much of a masculine trait. It's going to be kind of more of a feminine trait to have that big hip action there. Just kind of for your own FYI. Okay, that is our breakdown for our basic. Now, from side to side. Now, one extra thing is you can go forward and back. So we're adding this in here too, where we can go forward and back in the same position. So we can go 1, 2, 3, touch, 1, 2, 3, touch. So we can go forward and we can go back, and they're passing steps. So you want to get comfortable going forward, back, side, and side. That's really important. Now, for the most part, it's going to be in place, but down the road, be prepared to go in all these different directions. That's really important for us to have that broken down to know where we're going. Okay, that is our bachata basic. Let's hop into the next part. All right, leads, let's talk about your basic. So from this position here, my left foot is free, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or step, close or cross, step, tap. Step again in place, step, close or cross, step, tap, or touch. Cadence is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You'll notice I'm not doing a huge hip lift by articulating the heel into the ground and rising this hip. You're going to just see a little bit of action, bump, bump, bump. As I touch, it's more of an extension of the leg, which has a piece of the hip action, but it's not a bona fide hip lift.
All right, fellas, let's go ahead and go over our footwork. So, we're going to start with our weight on our left foot. Our right foot is free. And so we're going to step onto our right foot, bring our left foot next to our right foot, step onto our right foot, and then touch with our left. And we're not going to put very much weight on it because next we're going back the other way. We're going to step onto our left, bring our right foot together, step onto our left again, and then touch with our right. And we can keep going like this, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, something specifically for the ladies that I want to make sure that we touch on is that when you're doing this dance, try and keep your knees just a little bit bent. That'll help get some of this hip action naturally than if you kind of keep your legs locked out. Try and keep your knees a little bit soft, a little bit bent, and sort of sink into your steps just a little bit to get some of this nice hip action that, especially a lot of us ladies, like to get to sort of draw some attention, if you will. All right, so that's our footwork.
Key points. Get your key points here. This is for bachata key points. Okay, so what we're going to do is talking about what makes this basic feel better, look better, how to make it comfortable. So first and foremost, it's not about trying to have a look right off the bat. It's about getting to where you don't have to think about your footwork. It's hard when you're new to dances to either affect a strong change of weight or to fake a change of weight and not fall into the next foot, especially when you have momentum. So with bachata, it cannot be thought of as a traveling action. You need to think about marching. So a lot of people will teach it from a point of just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they'll do step, 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 touch, step, 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 touch. I like this approach purely because it gets you worried about touching on that 4th count, that 8th count, and not worried about where you're going with it. A lot of people will go 1, 2, 3, and then they have momentum, and they'll do their 4, or they'll land on their 4, they'll get ahead of themselves. So the first thing you have to conquer in bachata is when to touch and when to step, okay? Sounds simple, but believe you me, as soon as we take this basic and we start turning it, or doing these small pivoting actions or anything like that, you'll start falling onto that 4 if you don't master this. So my key point is this little drill. I want you to start off on your left foot and go 1, 2, 3, tap with the right, 1, 2, 3, tap with the left. You're always alternating, right? Correct? So if we start again on our left foot, I want you to start slowly walking around where you're at, going forward, going back, turn in circles, all that stuff. But keep your cadence of 1, 2, 3, tap, 1, 2, 3, tap. Yeah? So we did 1, 2, 3, tap, 1, 2, 3, tap, 1, 2, 3, tap, 1, 2, 3, tap. Keep this going, and that is going to make a big difference in starting to build a muscle memory for your footwork. Turn to the right some, turn to the left some. Now once you've mastered, I wouldn't say master yet, but once you've gotten comfortable with doing this by yourself, grab your partner, and you can do this in 2 hands, and then you can do this closed, you can do all the different positions, but start doing, in place 1, 2, 3, tap, 1, 2, 3, tap, then you can start going in directions from basic to forward and back, and then what you want to do is start skipping where you go back the other way and just keep going the same direction and see how it messes with you a little bit. It won't feel natural, right? Because we start seeing it as a basic. So if you can start breaking away from a basic of it only goes back and forth, left and right, you're going to start freeing up your feet. And it's hard for us, coming from a ballroom dancing perspective, into an alternative Latin style, because we learn figures and we learn structure, which creates a strong standardization for learning. It doesn't always give you the best route for openness and creativity, because you're learning how to do things right, and by learning how to do things right, you don't want to do things wrong. And sometimes doing wrong is how we invent new things. That's how new styles come, by doing it not their old way, or the standard way, or the right way. So if we approach this dance without that, it kind of teaches you to have open footwork. So that way you can not be surprised if you deviate from just the side to side, or just the simple forward and back. You start being a little bit more able to just keep the footwork going no matter where we go. And that's kind of what I'm looking for, is just get those taps in. After 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, tap, 1, 2, 3, tap. And then you want to start doing that a little bit with a partner. It's going to be a struggle at first, but it's going to make overall your bachata footwork more secure, because you are now getting comfortable with moving where you tap on that 4th count every time, no matter what's going on. Once you kind of achieve that, that's going to make things a lot easier. So that's my biggest thing about bachata, is getting that cadence down. Now, how many times will you deviate from a back and forth basic? Initially, not a ton, but because there are lots of styles going around. You have the Dominican style, you have different Latin American countries that have a very specific style that they adhere to. You have the most popular style in North America, which is the Bachata Sensual style. So you'll have people start to kind of play with rules. So unless you only screen everyone who you're going to dance with, which you're not going to, you need to be prepared to be able to lead and follow in a more open idea, which this is the whole purpose of this drill. This will prepare you for it. So get comfortable with just marking your time while walking, traveling, turning left, turning right. Once you get that down, I think you're going to find you're going to be a lot more prepared to move into an unusual circumstance versus only have ever been going left and right. That's just my 2 cents on that, but I found that to be pretty successful for students and myself as well. So that is my key point, is play with your basic, drill your basic rhythm, and then the rest will come. Strong roots make for a strong tree. There we go. Those are key points. All right, let's go ahead and demonstrate that for you in a little bit more real time. That way you have an idea of what the tempo would be like. Bachata is most closest to tempo for ballroom dancers or other Latin. It's going to be kind of a rumba speed. So most American rumba you can dance bachata to. The big key thing when it comes to hearing the music is you're going to look for that percussion that's going to sound a little bit like an old-fashioned water sprinkler. That whole that thing, that is the way you're going to tell if it's a bachata song, or at least it's intended to be, versus a standard rumba. All the other instruments are pretty much present. That's going to be one of the defining points of that. So yeah, there's a little freebie there, but it's going to be around that tempo. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate that for you at that speed so you can see that. Here we go. And 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Step, 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 touch, 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 step, 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 touch. All right, that is us for this week. Good job, everybody. If you have any questions about those patterns, go ahead and reach out to us. But hey, we will see you next time.